Do you think Phil Kessel misses it in Toronto?
I hope so.
Do you think he liked being in Toronto?
I don't know. I just want to hear him say he'll remember me.
Standing in a nice dress, staring at the sunset, babe. Showtime. Penny point. Whoopsie daisy, this team is ruining my life.
I listen to the radio a lot. Leafs lose 2-1 to the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Or did they?
Because as you know, the Pittsburgh Penguins have had a bit of a rough start to their season, just 1-3 in their first 4 games heading into this one. And you may have also heard that the Pittsburgh Penguins have a little fellow named Philip J. Kessel on their team. Is it J? I never checked. It just sounded right. The Leafs traded Phil Kessel, Tyler Biggs, and Tim Erickson to the Penguins in exchange for Kasperi Kapanen, Nick Spaulding, and Scott Harrington. There were picks involved. What's going on there?
Your Honor, bring out GeneralFanager.com.
If Pittsburgh qualifies for the 2016 postseason, Toronto will receive a 2016 Pittsburgh first, and the Penguins will receive a 2016 Pittsburgh second, because they gave it to the Leafs for Daniel Winnick, you silly geese.
It's funny because he just signed with the Leafs again.
Should Pittsburgh miss the 2016 playoffs, Toronto will instead receive a 2017 Pittsburgh first, and Pittsburgh will receive a 2017 Toronto second. If the Penguins were to miss the postseason the next 2 years, Toronto would receive a 2017 Pittsburgh second, and Pittsburgh would not receive a draft pick. What I'm trying to say is the great thing about this season is every time the Leafs lose to the Penguins, they actually win. And every time they beat the Penguins, they literally win. That, my friends, is the definition of a win-win situation. So, I mean, even though the Leafs lost. Anyway, good news! The good news, Jonathan Bernier stopped his first shot in this game. Bad news is he allowed 2 of the first 4. Malkin scores, Mata scores, neither of them a particularly good goal, and the Leafs are down 2-0 in the first period. As, of course, is tradition. What does Babcock even say during the timeout? Hey, no. You know what, guys? No. You know, they're scoring on us, and I'd prefer if that wasn't the case. I think I sound more like Bubbles than Mike Babcock. I'll work on it.
Oh, why? Like when the Leafs scored?
No, Bubbles, no. Whatever Mike Babcock said during that timeout, whatever he has been saying to Jake Gardiner all season so far, is working. Gardiner with a blast I didn't know he had. When you get a defenseman who can skate the way Jake Gardiner can, and he just winds up and unloads on a shot like that, what chance do you have as a goalie? And the goal ends up going to Uncle Leo, who has scored the last 3 Leafs goals. And I think he deserves full credit, because how do you tip a shot going that fast? Some people might call that a garbage goal. I don't think I'm ever gonna call tip-in goals a garbage goal ever again. If it goes in off your butt, if you whack it in unintentionally, alright, I guess that's one thing. But it's an art form. It's an actual skill to stand in front of the net, have someone trying to move you from that area, and then place your stick on a shot going 900,000 kilometers an hour. I measured. I borrowed Glenn Healy's radar gun. And I keep bringing it up. And no, you can't really measure KHL stats or KHL performance versus NHL performance. They're very different leagues. But Leo Komarov being on the top line is worth a shot. But Uncle Leo is proving that he's worth the shot. This is a true fact. No one on this current Toronto Maple Leafs roster has played on a line as skilled and as good as the one Komarov played on during the lockout with Nicholas Backstrom and Alex Ovechkin in the KHL. And I watched. He wasn't a passenger, and it's pretty easy to be a passenger on a line like that. He knows his role. He was complimentary. And with Mike Babcock behind the bench, you're always going to get Red Wings comparisons, but one of the names brought up last night was Thomas Holmstrom, and I'm like, yes! All we hear about is Datsuk and Zetterberg and Lidstrom, and for obvious reasons, but Thomas Holmstrom gets buried by those guys, and he caused havoc in creases his entire career. And I'm not saying him and Komarov are the same player, but I'm saying it doesn't hurt to have that kind of guy. And for the rest of the game, welcome to the rest of the Leafs season. Yeah, Jonathan Bernier held it down, made a huge save on Patrick Hornqvist, and the Leafs played fine, but fine doesn't always cut it. The player last night who I thought epitomized what this Leaf season is going to be was Peter Holland. Because he was just buzzing. He was crashing into the offensive zone, hustling, battling for loose pucks. It turned into a couple scoring chances right in front of the net. They don't go in. And a lot of the time, they don't even end up as shots on goal. And while he's not Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin, he's doing the right things. And the whole team, for the most part, are doing the right things. But right now, they're sitting with a 1-3-1 record, and I wonder if doing the right things is gonna wear thin. Please no. Now, I got a bone to pick. All I heard last night was how much Phil Kessel and Sidney Crosby were struggling. Crosby, no points so far to start this season. Oh, is your fantasy pool screwed? Or saved? And it is true that Kessel and Crosby only combined for 3 shots against the Leafs in this game. But all I kept hearing was how quiet they've been. Some of it was on the broadcast, a lot of it was on Twitter. Ooh, Kessel and Crosby, they're just not getting it done. And a lot of it from people I've seen yell and scream about, hockey's not all about the numbers. Now, I can't speak for the Penguins' previous 4 games, but as for this game against the Leafs, they weren't quiet. Crosby sends a beautiful pass in front of the net to Phil Kessel. He puts a deke on Jonathan Bernier, has him down and out, but he can't get the backhand off. That doesn't count as a shot on goal, but is that not an amazing scoring chance? Then there was another opportunity, puck fed to Crosby, blasts it, and his stick shatters everywhere. But if he connects with that puck, it stays intact and it goes on net. That thing might be going in. And at that point, we're talking about how the Crosby, Kessel, and whoever line killed the Leafs. So maybe the numbers don't say they're that great. Maybe they didn't look as dominant as you thought they would be, but quiet, hardly. And something to look for, and this is why the Penguins are so amazing, Malkin's line is doing fine. Maybe Malkin's line will stop getting top defensive pairings, and then it's Crosby and Kessel who can just feed on the second pairing. Just saying, thought it was a little unfair, but remember, Leaf fans, you are honorary Penguins fans this season. No, I can never cheer for the Penguins. Look, do you want a first round pick or not? Look, we all want abs and hate sit-ups, okay? But if you put in the work, sometimes those sit-ups turn into first round picks. William Nylander, that's a Swedish six-pack, just saying. Question of the game, what did you think of the Kessel-Crosby line? If you thought they were bad, did I sway you? Because look, I didn't think they were amazing, but quiet, come on. And are you just happy that we could get that circus out of the way until Kessel makes his return to Toronto on Halloween? If Crosby and Kessel have some chemistry by then, I think it will be quite scary. Awful. Oh, that's a sign to cut it off. That's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Highlights down below. And I will see you next game.